Well, I came from Mansfield. Race car to Simon wanted me to come to Hull City, which I did. And I first met Chris Chilton then, and ever since that day we've been very close and big friends. And he's a super guy, you know, and it's a shame that this has happened to him because I read all about it in the papers about the heading of the ball and everything. Well, he was one of the most powerful headers of a ball I ever saw, and you know, and as I said before, it's a shame that this has had to happen to him.
It must be heartbreaking for you.
Well, it is heartbreaking, you know. I mean, we've been friends for a long, long time, and we've stayed friends when we play. I mean, we went to Australia with England a few years ago to tour Australia, which was magic, and we always stayed in the same room and everything. And as I say, it's very difficult for me to talk about him because he's a super guy as well. I mean, he was a manager, he's been a coach, he's a charity worker. He's been a lot of things, and I say, to happen to him like it's happened to him now, it's very sad, and it upsets me quite a lot.
Was he your best friend in football?
Yeah, he was best friend. I had to be. He was a captain, so I have to be friendly with him. No, he used to live in Sprortley, and I used to go and see him. And you know, when I first came, I used to go and see him. As I said, it's very hard to see him like this. You know, I go and see him now and again, and it's very difficult for his wife Margaret but now he's going into an home, and we've raised quite a lot of money for him, which I think he deserves, and it's unbelievable how the people of Hull have come together for him. You know, he'll never be forgotten, put it that way, and he's just a lovely guy, and I love him so much.
You must be proud of what your daughter's done as well.
Yeah, well, she's a big friend of the Chiltons as well, and with Margaret, and obviously knew him quite well, and she's a lovely girl, my daughter, you know. She'll do anything for anybody, you know, apart from me. But no, she's a lovely girl, and as I said, she'll do anything for the Chiltons. They're very big friends, and with Margaret and everything, and I think that he's in the best place at the moment, you know, and because it's very difficult with him, you know. I've been, and he goes walkabout, you know, and you don't know where he is, and you know, and he could be anything. I mean, but you know, he's still the same Chris to me as he was 40 years ago. You know, he was a good captain, and he, as I said, we went to Australia, and we've just been together all our footballing careers, apart from the 4 years I was at Mansfield. But I don't know what I can say about him. He's just one of them people get attached to, which is proven with the supporters. You know, he's a gentleman, in other words.
Francesca, tell me the reasons why you wanted to start this appeal, and how surprised have you been by it?
Well, first of all, very surprised. Didn't expect this. It's just really overwhelming. Really is overwhelming. I started it because, like as Dad said, I'm very good friends with Margaret, especially. She's very close to me, very dear friend. And I've seen the journey they've been on with Chris, and it's been very difficult. They've absolutely ran themselves into the ground, and I was sat there with them only a couple of weeks ago now, and I just looked at her and Gary and said, you can't do this anymore. Chris was in the home at the time, and I just said, Margaret, he can't come home. He can't. And we didn't have any options. Gary's thinking about selling his house, and I don't know where the idea came from. I just thought, what about a GoFundMe page? I said, I'm sure you can do things like that. I knew nothing about setting it up, and I said, I'll look into it, don't you do anything. They had no energy left. I said, leave it to me, I'll look into it. I said, we might be able to get maybe a month or even 2 months where Chris can be in the home, so you've got this time just to think of what you need to do. So the next day I put something together, looked at the GoFundMe page. I contacted Richard Gardam, who wrote the book The Decade, is it a decade?
Decade of Hull
Yeah.
City.
And I said, look, if I put something together, will you just have a look at it? I'm not quite sure what angle I need to go on. I just didn't have a clue really. And he said, yeah, no problem. And he helped with the footballing bits. And it just went from there. And then Richard has just been brilliant. He's just helped take it all off, along with Rob Smith as well. So the three of us as a team is a team effort. We've started the GoFundMe page, and it's just overwhelmed us. It's
Over 30,000.
I
Yeah,
know, I know.
amazing.
It's
Are you surprised?
Well, I'm not surprised because the Hull supporters are very dear to the players, and they never forget them. And obviously, he was the main player in the good times of Hull City, and he was very friendly off the field with the supporters. You know, autographs and things like that. He did all the time. He never refused one.
he had more patience than you.
He did. He had more patience than me, but he was just a nice, as I said, he's just a nice kid. And, you know, and as I said, I repeat that it's a shame to see him like this, but if you're reading the papers every day, there's footballers getting it all the time. I mean, and another point about it is that I don't think I'll ever, somebody said a few have said, well, I don't think you'll ever get it, King, because you never headed the ball. So I always turn around and say it's called football, isn't it? Doesn't that give you a clue what you have to use? But no.
There's a lot from your generation of playing. You look at even just the last week, Nobby Styles.
Yeah. Well, I know most of them, you know, and they're all headers of a ball. And Chillo was such a powerful header of a ball. I mean, some of the times he could head it as hard as I could kick it, you know, and
they were heavy, those balls as well, weren't
they were heavy when they got wet. It was like kicking a bucket. But as I said, he was a marvellous header. There won't be many better footballers who could head a ball like he could. But, you know, it's just sorrowful to see him like this, you know. And I mean, and I'm one of them people that if I have been to see him a few times, it just upsets me too much. So I try and curb it by going to see him. You know, it's just this thing about it that why they haven't got further on by doing something for people with it. You know, I mean, there's been a lot of money put into it, and I can't understand why they haven't got closer to getting some sort of cure for it. But, you know, the brain, it's a funny thing.
But Chilton and Wagstaff will always be remembered in Hull, won't they?
Well, yeah, I mean, they'll always be remembered, but you've got to remember, apart from me and Chris, we were in we were in a good side, you know. We had players, and the manager was Cliff Bretton then. He trained us out what to do and what positions to go in, you know, and he was very strict on how we played the ball, and we didn't do any of this tapping the ball to each other in the defence. The ball went forward as quick as it could to me, Chillo, and Ian Butler, who was the left winger in them days. And I mean, the forward line scored, I scored 31 goals, Chillo 29, Butler 20, Houghton 24. That was the old forward line. Well, you wouldn't get that today, no.